T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
We have the best theme song. I know that's a weird way for us to start, but that's literally how I feel every time. Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. And welcome to our WOW Superheroes Aftershow. And it's Monday, and we are up in here, and it is October 3rd. Happy Mean Girls Day. And on top of that, it's Monday. And of course, Monday is Monday Night Raw, but also it's really good to start off the week talking about WOW and everything that happened this weekend. So it's really good to be here. So, of course, thank you guys for watching and on live on all of our platforms. Of course, my name is Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, commentator for the Belladonna Division Battle Club Pro and Black Girl Magic 2, and host of Women's Wrestling Talk on here with you. And I am here with the most fabulous women in all of the world. Of course, to my right, she's wearing a very stylish hat, and of course, she is the host and creator of In Cat We Trust, and she will be leading the panel this Friday at New York Comic Con for Women of Color in Wrestling Behind the Magic. She is the fabulous, the super duper sweet Katrina Blake. How are you?
I love your intros. Like if I'm having a bad day, I feel like these always lift me up. So thank you. Super sweet. I'm okay. It's really cold in my apartment. I don't know. New York got like the tail end of Hurricane Ian, and so it's been crazy rainy and cold. But otherwise, outside of being a little chilly, I'm okay. It was a productive day. Got a lot done. And super excited for Comic-Con on Friday. So
Yes, and I'm so glad that, you guys are doing okay. And to all the people who were affected by Hurricane Ian, in the worst possible ways, we are sending you thoughts, prayers, and all types of good energy. And we will be hoping that you guys can rebuild after all of that, because storms are just, they come in our lives, and they come and they tear up a lot of things, but it gives us a chance to rebuild. So much love and prayers to those people who are affected by that. And of course, beneath us, last but certainly not least, she is a Emmy nominated producer, a woman of all of the amazing things in wrestling. She is a host, an interviewer, all of the above. She is the amazing Emily Mae Heller. How are you?
Hey, I'm happy to be with everyone today to talk about WOW and be together. Yeah, hope everyone is. I'm excited to see the panel and the response that you guys are going to get this weekend. It's really, really exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. Like it's really great. Like I cannot wait to start packing for this, and then it's just going back to New York again. It's just always lit. So I'm excited. Now in the comments we've already got it popping. Of course, we got a visit from Wrestling Realm. That's Brian H. Waters and the crew. What up? Hey, thank
Hi.
you for watching. Um and then of course, we're saying hi to all the WoW fans. And please remember to follow, like, and subscribe to Women's Wrestling Talk everywhere. That's Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere you can find us. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at WW Talk Pod, and follow us and see whatever it is that we've got going on. It's really great. And JD, of
Yeah,
course, always joining us, saying that we look fashionable. That's
we
great. Thank
are
you
looking
so much.
fashionable.
Thank you, JD. Always appreciate you in the comments.
Yes. So this episode of WoW was pretty great. This was episode 3. So we're still finding our groove and everything, but the show was really solid and really good. So of course we're gonna start. The show started with them doing sort of a recap of the ongoing beef between the Beast and Reina Del Rey. And they showed a recap, of course, of the Beast on the first episode defeating ooh, she was from New Jersey. And I cannot remember her name right now. But she basically retained her WoW World Championship, but then it showed Reina Del Rey attacking her after the match with a suplex, and then it also showed Reina Del Rey being victorious in her main event match, and then the Beast getting her lick back. So they were showing a recap of that, but they didn't really show up in the episode, proper. So we're still waiting to see, what's going to come of that next, if they're going to officially challenge each other, when they're going to fight each other and all of the above. We're still waiting for that. But how are you ladies feeling about this feud and basically, how they recapped everything before the episode actually started?
Um, I mean, I think this is important to have these types of establishing moments, right? Because you're establishing, you know, new characters, new competitors, but also the reign of a champion is important. And we've talked about this a lot about having your opponent and having different opponents is important. And so I like how they're starting it off by giving you a little recap, a moment in time of like, this is where we're at, because it makes you think about what's going to happen next, right? You're like, okay, what's going to be, we saw some potential opponents, right?
Mhm.
In the last 2 episodes. So yeah, they're kind of like building to a bigger moment with this package.
Right. Katrina?
Yeah, I thought it was good. If somebody, I'm also a fan of that, especially if somebody might have missed the first 2 episodes and they decide to join for the first time with episode 3. Well, now they kind of have an idea of what happened. I think that's always something you don't want to overdo, like the recaps, but in a situation when you do have your main champion clearly in a feud, or they're trying to like rebuild, why she got the championship in the first place, and kind of level that up. It makes sense to do the recap again, especially if you're gaining new people coming in this week, or even if you might have forgot. I mean, I usually remember things, but sometimes people forget what they had like for lunch. So you might have forgot what happened last week. So I'm okay with them recapping. I thought that was before they got into the action this week. I thought, because we know that's definitely going to be a major feud, at least that's the way they're building it to be, then it made sense. So I was perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I was fine with it as well. Because of course, the more information doesn't hurt at all. So I was actually okay with that. So as the episode got cracking, of course, we got an intro from David McLean, who was having all sorts of fun in this episode.
He was having so much fun. I feel like he had a different energy on commentary too. He was like, he was like wearing stuff and dancing. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, shout out to David McClay. Like he be having a time of his life on commentary, and it definitely showed in this episode too. But we'll get to that as we talk about the match that they actually matched up with, but he was just having the time of his life. So of course, we had Lauren Hunkley making the announcement for the first match in the tag as we move on with the tag team tournament. And this was between some new characters that we're getting on the scene. This was Siren, the Voodoo Doll, and Chainsaw versus the Bullybusters, known as um, basically Keita Rush and Steffi Slays, which is a name that I am definitely feeling for biased, reasons. But yeah, like this was really interesting for me in terms of watching their tag team action work because they did show kind of like the mystical dark magic of Siren and Chainsaw. And they showed in the audience like how everyone like in the audience were kind of staring at them like, oh my God, who are these girls? Where did they come from? I'm scared. That was like the general energy of watching the both of them. But then you have the Bully Busters who were just reconnecting after being separated after Steffi moved to Dallas, Texas. So after she moved, they kind of lost contact, but then they reconnected, and now they've gotten back together as the Bully Busters, and now they're at WOW. In this tag team match in the tournament. Now, this match was really great. You got to see a little bit of what the Bully Busters had to offer, but it seemed as if they really couldn't necessarily like catch a lot of their groove because of how imposing Siren and Chainsaw were. Like they were just showing a lot of their power, a lot of their scariness throughout the whole match and everything. And it felt like there were times where they did the thing where where a team will isolate a member of the other team and basically keep them from tagging in.
Yeah, they
And
try to like overpower a little bit, like try to distract and cause some trouble, so that the other opponent can't get in. I loved the first tag team coming in because they were, like you said, very imposing. They really tried to assert their dominance in the ring, and just by their looks, I was like, this is perfect for Halloween. I feel like I'm like, oh goodness, like I don't like creepy, scary stuff, and I felt like it was pretty scary going in. And they, it was a fun tag match. But I don't know if you want to intro the rest of the other opponents.
But yeah, like I was saying, it was just, as they were going back and forth with it, they were isolating Kita, then they were also isolating Steffi. And then the more they did that, the more that they were smashing each other and basically just destroying each other. So after that point, the winners of the match were clearly Siren and Chainsaw. So ladies, tell me how you felt about this match and how you feel about these really scary and imposing women moving forward in the tag team tournament and what the other tag teams will probably have to switch up in their arsenal in order to face off against these women.
I mean, you're gonna have to update your everyone's gonna have to update their arsenal a little bit because I think this tag team is very imposing. I think they have something different and new to bring to this tournament. And this is going to be very dangerous. And I think everyone's going to have to step up their game. Yeah, it did not. I loved their look where like you couldn't necessarily see their eyes all the time, right? Which I find that's very disturbing when you have to fight and wrestle other opponents. But you just really couldn't see into their soul a little bit, their eyes, the way into the soul, Steph, you couldn't see.
Yeah, you couldn't really see. And I think, and a lot.
I don't know. Did she freeze? I'm guessing she froze because I feel like we were fine, right?
I think she's frozen. I think we lost her. Steph, we lost you.
But yeah, I guess I thought it was an entertaining match. You mentioned them having to kind of update the arsenal, and I think so. Like the first two sets of winners were sisters, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks we had sisters. We had and so this is the first group on a tag team that kind of wasn't related to each other, but they still worked very dominantly. And so I wasn't surprised that they won, even though I did like the little story behind the Bullybusters. I thought it was like a nice, like, oh, this is so sweet. They got to reunite, and I always like to reunite with people I haven't seen in a long time, and it makes you feel like all fuzzy on the inside. But I think I wasn't surprised that
Yeah.
you.
I got like a little I got like a little Abaddon vibe with this match. Like I felt very like it had that feeling, right? Where kind of like this otherworldly kind of devilish character. So I that like the character was very thought out in that tag match. So that's the vibe I was getting with this one. Stephanie, you're back.
Yes, I'm back. I
Continue
am
to
so
chat.
sorry, guys.
Continue to chat with
Hopefully
them.
that won't happen again. Y'all know the internet. But yeah, I do get that Abaddon vibe from those two. So it was a really, stellar match. And of course, they're moving forward in the tag tournament. So that was a really good intro to those two. But Siren and Chainsaw came out with the win. And something incredibly funny that AJ Mendez said on commentary was that, has anybody thought about just giving Chainsaw a hug? And I was just like, girl, you don't just hug somebody like that.
I mean, sometimes anyone that's like that, they just need a hug. Sometimes just people need a little love. It might help. That might actually be Stephanie. That's a strategy their opponent can use. They could go in for a hug and instead give them a clothesline.
You know what that reminds me of that episode of the Powerpuff Girls where they had to defeat the mime by singing the love song.
Exactly. You
The love makes the world go round.
You
My
lead them
favorite
one
episode,
way,
one of my favorite episodes. I love that
lead them
episode.
one way, and then take them out another way. I'm telling
Oh
you,
my
this
God.
is it. We're making this happen.
Yes, and they had
Brown
to
needs to book it.
turn him back into Rainbow the Clown. Oh my God, that was throwback. But yeah. Maybe a hug would do it. You just never know. But
Or a
yeah.
cookie. Maybe a cookie.
Yeah.
Cookies make everyone happy. Everyone in the chat. Would a cookie
Yes.
make you happy?
Yes. Or taking a nap. That could work too.
As you can see, I need cookies and naps.
Yes. But yeah, like I was saying, Siren and Chainsaw came out with the win. So they're moving forward in the tournament. And I was really sad because I was rooting for Steffi Slays for obvious reasons. But it's okay. I still love you and you will go on to do amazing things because Stephanie's always do. So moving on to the rest of the match, to the rest of the card rather, we got introduced to some more characters. In the form of the disciplinarian who by her side had Samantha Smart, who calls herself the IQ savior. And they showed a little bit of background on those two as the disciplinarian was set to face off against Chantilly Cella, who we last saw in the tag team tournament in the first episode.
Yeah.
So, the disciplinarian comes from a military background. So, with that type of background and with her parents sort of instilling in her a level of discipline and also a level of focus, she sort of applied that to her in-ring work. And then they showed her a little bit in the classroom and how basically there was just extra discipline with that as well. And I definitely know what that's like, having gone to private school. Like, that discipline is nothing to be played with. But I didn't also have military parents on top of that, so I can only imagine what that was like for her. So they also showed her during WOW's previous iteration where a lot of her anger would get the best of her and she would wind up, unfocused in the ring, and it would wind up, costing her victories, against various people because her anger would be out of control. And Samantha Smart came in to sort of, try to, buff out those rough edges with her. And so basically they made their entrance together, and Chantilly Cella made her entrance, and so she was dancing and had everybody in the crowd dancing and even had David McLean dancing on commentary. And he was so excited because she actually gave him her sparkly cape and he was living for it. He was
Yes, that's
loving
what I was
it.
saying. He was like living. Like that was the moment he was waiting for in this episode. He wanted all the sparkle, all the glitter, was dancing. We got to see a little bit more. We got to see a little bit more of him in this episode. So
Yes.
yeah, he's been having a lot of fun.
Yeah, he was having the absolute time of his life. He was even trying to get AJ to dance with him in the ring, and AJ was not having it. She's so funny to me because she's like, it's like when everybody else is overly excited, she's just like, no, sit down. So yeah, that was just a really funny part. Shout out to David McLean. We love you. You're great. So in the comments, JD is saying it sounds like maybe WoW needs to keep cookies on standby for the entire locker room. Maybe so. Maybe so. But yeah, the disciplinarian got started with this match, and this was a really good match because you got to see a lot of the high flying abilities that Chantilly Chella is known for, while also trying to take down the disciplinarian, who was also, of course, a thicker woman, but also at the same time utilizing that to her advantage and also using her power advantage too. But it seemed like for every time she would knock Chantilly down, and every time Chantilly would get up, she would just get frustrated, but then she would have to recollect her thoughts and be like, oh, I'm going to chill. Okay. I need to chill, or else I'm going to, lose focus, and then I'll lose this match. But it was a really good back and forth between the two. I really enjoyed this match and seeing what they both had to offer. And even in the moments where it felt like Samantha Smart was trying to like help her win or whatever, that still didn't work out. And it was just like, girl, how are you calling yourself the IQ savior, but you can't even save your buddy in this match? Like, girl, come on. But after all of that and all of that amazing action between the two, Chantilly Chella came out with the win, and I thought this was a really great showing for her to bounce back from that tag team loss that she had with Randy Rah in the first episode. So she really did, show off her prowess.
Yeah, I mean, I
That
love
we're
this.
used
Like,
to.
this was a really the last half of this. Like, I like the match as a whole, but I feel like for Chantilly, it was a really, really good showcase for her. Like the last half of this match, she came out with the win, and I think it was really important for her to get this, because even though she wasn't successful in the tag team tournament, I think as a singles competitor, remember I said people might be coming back. We'll see people potentially in different ways, because the WoW roster is pretty extensive. I liked how we got to see her do some really great stuff, and she was very defensive at the last few moments of this match. She showed that she could potentially maybe be some championship contender material.
Definitely, I definitely would love to see how she would stack up against someone like the Beast. Shout out to your cat who just made an appearance.
Yes. She heard us. She wanted to hear what we were talking about. Yeah.
Yes, it's like she started walking. I was like, oh, here we go. Katrina, how did you feel about the match and the disciplinarian's performance, seeing as this was our first time seeing her on WoW?
I liked, like, I guess the background. I think one of the commentary comments was she's the disciplinarian without any discipline. And I thought that was like a really nice with reference to the fact that she has like the anger issues and trying to kind of keep her cool in situations that cause her not to get the desired goal. And even though you can kind of see her working through that during the match, should ultimately wind up being what causes her the match, not be able to kind of keep that in check. But it was nice also. Again, I thought like Chantelli definitely had the crowd behind her, and it was nice to kind of see even when she won, and she kind of had like the crowd kind of when she was like on the clapping and everything. And I thought that was a really nice like touch as well. Like definitely cool way to bounce back from your first appearance, for us at least. And then you kind of come in with a win, a solo win. Now, tag team wrestling is good, but if it's always like extra. You can prove something extra when you kind of get a solo win. And so I mean, I don't know how well she would do necessarily with the Beast, because the Beast is so dominant, but I wouldn't mind seeing it necessarily. So, but good match.
Yeah, it was. It was really good. I enjoyed it very much. So yeah, Miss Chantilly came out with the win, and she was very happy and peppy and dancy. So, and since we all, and it's here again, it's another situation where you kind of know her outside of WoW, and you're just like, yeah, you better go, girl. And
I know,
so
and I
it's
loved her. I
it's
loved
cool.
her new look. Like usually she goes blonde, but I liked this new look. I think
Yes.
It was really fun, and I think it upped her energy. I feel like it like changed kind of. She always has incredible energy in the ring, but I feel like this new look and the gear and all that just really like kind of plussed it up even more. So it was really cool to see, and I've been rooting everyone on that I know outside of the world of WoW, and it's been really great to see them shine in a different way.
Yes, shine and sparkle. And of course, in the comments, we have a compliment. Okay, hat. Yes, cat in the hat.
That's great.
Oh goodness. Okay, we need to come up with some costumes for the 30, like closer to Halloween, you guys.
We do. We really do. We really do. Because I actually just posted when I cosplayed as Captain Marvel. So I need to do something else. Because that was 2019. I need to do something new. But yeah, Cat in the Hat and Chantilly with the Wind, guys. So moving forward to a very heartfelt point in the episode, and honestly, what I feel like is one of the high points, not only just personally but also all around, was the debut of Commander Sahara Spars. And of course, they've been showing lots of vignettes where they've been able to sort of tell their stories. Um, of themselves outside of the ring and inside of the ring. So, Commander Spars basically started telling her story about how she's from Washington D.C. and how she was sort of looking how even she had participated in wrestling before, but something happened that sort of took away her love of wrestling and sort of made her want to just run away because someone was being really ugly towards her. And in the midst of that, she moved back home with her father, and her father was a former military man, and she decided to join the Coast Guard. And in doing the Coast Guard, she basically decided to find more of and tap in more into what she could do and all of her discipline, because at first she said she was kind of wild and rambunctious before she joined the military. So after she joined the military, she learned a form of discipline, and she decided to get back into wrestling, mostly because she didn't want anyone taking her dreams away, and also she wanted to do it for her daughter, so her daughter can see that even though you might go through some tough times, you can continue to follow your dreams in the midst of that, and never to let anyone steal your dreams or steal your hopes for the future. And this was very heartfelt on a very deep level, because of course, something that we have addressed a lot in other platforms is the speaking out movement, and how some people in wrestling just have a tendency to just utilize their powers for evil and not for good, and not create safe spaces for their athletes. And something that is very important that people are starting to do is, number one, coming out and telling their stories, and number two, encouraging that safer spaces are created for their athletes, and also for other workers as well, so powers can be used for good and not for evil in wrestling. Because when stuff like that happens, it deflates people and it steals their souls away and it takes their joy away, and that's not nice. So I'm really happy that Commander Sahara, was able to rise above that, and find her way through as she was out of it, and then find her way right back to it, and not let anybody take that away from her. And I am more than sure that she is an amazing example to her daughter. I'm more than sure that her daughter thinks she's the coolest person in the world. So how did you guys feel about Commander Sahara Spars' story?
I mean, it's an incredible, inspiring story. I'm so happy for her that she has to be a part of WoW. I think this is a great showcase and great moment for her. And I feel like this match was really good too, for her. And I don't know. I mean, it's an inspiring story. She's, incredible, has been a part of the United States military and has a background in that, and just is so inspirational on many levels. So I think it's amazing that she gets to kind of bring this together here at WoW.
Definitely. What about you, Katrina?
Oh yeah, I was really fortunate to interview her outside of WoW. some months ago. I want to say maybe either early this year or at the end of last year. And so I knew some of stuff that was kind of said. But there. I remember when the whole speaking out thing happened. I guess initially because it was during quarantine where a lot of it started really coming out, and so it kind of was like, oh, okay, like trying, I guess, process not only what's being told, but then people you might have didn't think would do something like that did. And I'm a firm believer in I would rather apologize if I'm wrong than to not believe the person saying this happened. As you know, I can always try to make amends if I was wrong on something, but it's a very rare thing, as I told people, for somebody to come out publicly with something like that, knowing most times people they're not going to believe right away. They're going to be like, oh, why did you wait? Or why are you doing it this way? Or it can't be this person. Like they would never, as if we know everybody's like bad habits. And I'm also like, you can know somebody well and still not know their deepest darkest attitudes or behaviors. And so serial killers got away with it all the time because, and I'm not talking about the ones that look a little bit weird. I'm talking about like the ones who had wives and children and did what they did and came home like it was a regular day for them and nobody was none the wiser to it. So I'm a firm believer in you can't assume because you think you know a person or they're a wrestler and a favorite wrestler that they can't possibly do something bad. And so for her for it to be shared and just kind of say with regards to being a mom. I'm a mom, and like trying to, overcome whatever things that come your way. That was relatable. I tell people all the time, like a lot has happened in the years I've been alive, and you bounce back as hard as it sometimes may be, and you just move. And hopefully, you do make a choice or make decisions that if your parents, well, not that yourself will thank you for, but that your kids will be like, "Thank you for doing this. You did, And even if it seems like you're questioning if you're doing the right thing." And so that I think was like things that I definitely could relate to. With that.
I mean, I think it's really, I know I think Katrina, you and I were on the interview or similar interviews right near each other, but I think her being a mom is really important to her, and her being on the show is important because we need representation of women like her in media so that little girls and little boys and anyone around the world can see people like this on television, and it's important. And so I think this moment is important for everyone, but I think it all connects back to not only her being a mom, and lots of these women on the show are moms, and so I think it's all connected, and so they get to tell these stories and be a part of something bigger.
Yes, and I can also attest to her being on my show, the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, outside of WOW as well, and just getting to know her and hearing a part of her story um was very it was very heartfelt for me because I just do not like it when other people make other people suffer. Um Especially in a very unnecessary way, and it's just like what's the point in all of that? And honestly, this that type of behavior silences a lot of people, a lot of women, and also a lot of men too. And I'm just really happy that she did not let that, stand in her way at all. And I'm more than sure, of course, that comes with work and it comes with the determination and of course, self-healing in order to continue to move on with your life after that point. And I am just so grateful that she and I crossed paths. Even with the Belladonna division, seeing how, she carries herself and just seeing, just how beautiful of a soul she is. She deserves nothing but great things. And this is the start of those great things for her. Like seeing her on television blessed my spirit this weekend. Like, it really did. Like, because it's just like sometimes in life you just feel like giving up sometimes. It's just like you see people like her and you're just like, okay, I see you. And because I see you, I see me, and we can do this. So it was a beautiful part and I was crying. So there's that. Because I'm a bucket of water. But moving on to the match though, she faced off against Gigi Gianni, who is this very stylish woman. She's had all this sparkle going on with her outfit, kind of like had like a half pants, like half jumpsuit going on, and it was really cute and everything. But in this match, you really saw the best of what Commander Spars had to offer. Like, her technical work is stellar. I had seen her wrestle before, but it seems like even now, like, she has definitely um improved so much of her game, and it's clear that she is always, working on becoming the best wrestler that she can be. And she has clearly evolved since the last time I've seen her. So she really showed out in this match. But Gigi did get kind of vicious in this match though. Like, there was one time where she hit a face buster, and then there was another time where Sahara was running up the ropes and then she slammed her down and everything. Like, this match was definitely like a really good showing of both of them. So in the end, Commander Spars won, and I'm really glad that she did. Because like I said, she's so amazing in the ring, and she has definitely gotten better and better with each time she's wrestled. So how are you ladies feeling about this match? And how do you guys feel also about Gigi as well? Team Sahara Spars from
Yeah, I
Wrestle.
love it. I mean, I had to go in here a little bit impartial, right? I mean, I was kind of partial to, um, Sahara Spars, right, Captain?
Yeah.
um, so but I had to go in kind of as a, analyzing it. And I feel like she did, even from the beginning, I feel like she still had the upper hand. Like, she showed maybe a little bit more strength, a little bit more quickness. And, you know, um, but I thoroughly enjoyed the match. I think it was a good it was interesting to see both of them together. But ultimately we're going with that.
Yeah.
I know. I try to be impartial, but sometimes,
It's
sometimes
hard. It's really, really hard, okay? It's really hard. I understand. I agree. Katrina, how did you feel?
It was I mean, I was happy with the win. I did like what Gigi was able to do. Like, there's things I was like, oh, okay, like I wouldn't mind seeing more of her either. But
Yeah.
again, because I actually know, I mean, I'll tell people I'm biased all the time. You're supposed to not be, but listen, I didn't go all these years arguing about Shawn Michaels and Jeff Hardy to be unbiased. And so, with that being said, I can also be very biased sometimes. And so I definitely went and hoping that she won. I was happy that she got the win, just because I know who she is. Again, you can't tell a story like that, and then be like, can't have a person lose after all that. I would have been a little bit like, I might have got a couple of angry tweets. Honestly, I would
Yes,
can't be
me
doing that to my can't be my heart streak like that and then be like, no, let's give them an L. I would have probably been a little upset, and I would have probably sent a couple of tweets, and we don't need that. And so I'm glad that she did get the win.
don't get Katrina tweeting. Don't get her tweeting. She's gonna go off. Don't do it.
But I did enjoy the match. But while I'm happy with the win, I actually am looking forward to kind of see what we get from Gigi, because I thought she was like, there were moments that I was like, oh, she's really good. Like, I know she's supposed to be like the most fashionable, like the wrestler, and I like that whole thing, but I kind of want to see what else she does. I thought there were moments where it was very technical feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, ooh, okay, I like that. And so even though the right person, in my opinion, did win, I'm actually looking forward to kind of see what they go with Gigi, because I'm like, she can wrestle.
Yeah, and Katrina, see, I feel like with Gigi, I felt like there was moments where I was like, there was something a little bit more. Like, I feel like there was like some of the moves, I was like, there's something more there that we're not quite seeing. And I don't know if we're going to see it later down the line, but I feel like things weren't complete here. I feel like there was moments that like weren't necessarily like followed through all the way. And I know that there's more there under the surface. There's more there in the technical wrestling that I think we can see. So that's the thing I was like waiting for, is like, I was like waiting for that little bit more, I wanted it to like take it and roll it to the next level. But I think there's still an opportunity to do so. But I was just like, a little bit, like sometimes you just want a little bit. I can't, that's the only way I can explain it.
Yeah, I get it. And then can we talk about Sahara Spars' Commander knee, guys? That slayed me. That just slayed me. I was just like, yes, Commander D, come on. Step through. Okay. This is how I feel when I watch TV. Y'all don't see this. But yes, like just step on through. But both ladies were very impressive, and I can't wait to see what the both of them have to offer. But just know that Women's Wrestling Talk is a Sahara Spars stand account. Uh, that's basically what this boils down to. We are so happy for you, and we just can't wait to see you succeed more and see you on television more, because we need you and your representation on television. Not only, as a military woman, as a mother, as a survivor, girl, you are it. You have it all. You have it all, and don't let nobody tell you you don't. Same goes for Gigi too. Don't let nobody tell you y'all ain't got it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. And it's good. Okay, Wrestling Realm in the comments. Let's go. Yes. Thank you for watching. Thank you again. So yes, Sahara Spars came out with the win. We love her. So moving on, we had another segment involving Miss, this was an introduction for me. This was Lana Starr. They showed her in the beginning, sort of towards the beginning of the show, but then they showed more of her. We sort of had a re-debut of sorts of Lana Starr. And Emily, maybe you could speak to this. Was she a wrestler or was she just a manager before?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. What was that?
Was Lana Starr a wrestler or was she just a manager before? Or do you know? Because I had never seen her before.
I think she was a manager. Oh, am I muted? Yeah, I think she was a manager.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. She just had this presence about her that just showed up in. Thank you for that, because I didn't know, because that was the first time I'd ever seen her. So I was like, oh, she has this
she's done modeling and acting and all of that.
Yeah, she just looks like Beverly Hills to me. Like she just has that ooze about her. So I was just like, I don't know what she was in her past, but I'm interested to figure it out. So they showed her, but then they also showed her with her protege, who goes by the name of Penelope Pink. And so we got to see more of that. We saw them walking on Rodeo Drive, and they were shopping and they were doing all of the cool things that you wish you could do if you had money, in California. Like they were doing all of the things, right? And so out in the car, it's like out of the car, you see Penelope Pink come out. You see all this hair. You see her face. Like her face card wasn't declining. I was like, oh, girl, you're gorgeous. And I actually tweeted and said she was gorgeous. And she was like, yeah, I know. And I was like, oh, okay. So that happened.
I definitely peeped out. I was laughing.
Yeah, I laughed too. It was funny.
I kind of like go on a shopping spree. Can I go shopping?
Oh my gosh. I would love it too. But then they also showed her signing a contract with CMG Worldwide, which is a high-end agency. I believe this agency is pretty, I don't want to say it's old, but they've been in business for a long time. So she was signing a contract with them because she knows that she is the next best thing. So after signing this contract, they went back in the car and went shopping and stuff. And Penelope Pink actually said that she was from Detroit and she had that Detroit sass. And that's something I can't really speak to because I don't think I've ever met anyone from Detroit, so I can't speak to that at all. But okay, girl, I see you. Work it. So in the main event, she went on to face Vivian Rivera, who we did see in, I believe, the first or second episode. And she fought BK Rhythm and defeated her. Yes. So they fought each other. And this match was I feel like a lot of what we saw Vivian Rivera give in the first match that she wrestled in, we really didn't get a chance to see that much of in this with Penelope Pink. And even though Penelope Pink had the X factor in this match, with having Lana Starr out there, and we did see Vivian Rivera, show off some of her prowess, like in this picture. It's just, it felt almost like Penelope was just really just taking advantage of all of her weak points. That's a funny picture right there. with her mouth open, like, oh my god, I'm upside down, girl. No. Um, but yeah, like this match was pretty good. And Penelope Pink wound up coming out with the win because Lana Starr kept trying to distract Vivian Rivera, and she even grabbed her foot like a handful of her hair to try to distract her. And I was like, "How dare you? That's disrespectful. Like, you just don't do that." Like, I hated that so much. But in the end, with all of the distractions and with every piece of athleticism that Penelope Pink had to offer against Vivian, Penelope Pink wound up winning. And they were posing outside of the ring and all of the above. And that's basically how the show ended. That was the end of the show. That was the main event. Penelope Pink is here, and it's clear that she thinks she's better than everyone, and she's hoping to rise to become the next WoW World Champion. So, as a lot of women are. So, yeah, how did you guys feel about this match? Emily, you can go
Yeah.
first. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I was like,
I didn't
I
say.
mean, I think it was a fun match. Again, like we're establishing these characters, that we've seen a little bit previously, and we're still we're getting to know again. And this was, again, you're setting up these competitors for potentially some type of I think, contender moment for them. But I think it was really an opportunity for Penelope Pink to really showcase again what she has to offer. And really, I feel like because I feel like the other match previously, Vivian, right, was more for her to showcase her stuff. So
Yeah.
I think it balanced out. But I think this was a fun main event. And I think I would like to see a little bit more work from kind of the managers. And I feel like they're from previous episodes and this episode, I feel like there could be a little bit more. I love these segments. I love the media segments, setting up everything. The
Mm-hmm.
story, you need that. I love it. But I want to see a little bit more juiciness, some more interference, some more causing some more trouble from these managers, because the managers could cause some trouble potentially.
Yeah, there was a lot of that from Lana, and that was
Mhm.
really fun and really cool and
Yeah,
vintage. So I do appreciate that because I love a good manager. So
exactly. Like when you have a good
yes,
one, they can steer the direction of what happens, right? And that's when maybe wrestlers turn on the manager or there's some type of uproar.
yeah,
But I think that's when it gets juicy, right? And you like sit on the edge of your seat. So I love that there was some of that, but I kind of want more.
definitely. So how did you feel about it, Kat?
I guess piggyback on your point about Vivian, I kind of agree. It was a weird I guess transition to kind of see how well she did the first time we saw her, and then to kind of I I don't know if lost is the right word I want to use, but it just wasn't. I don't know if she was being as ferocious as she probably could be this week. I think that I don't want to say lost because it's not that she was like didn't know what she was doing. It was more so like just she wasn't really like ferocious with it or being as she probably need have been. And yeah, I do believe Penelope kind of got some of that. Kind of reminds me of the I don't know if I'm saying my age now. Not that I'm like really old, but there's a cartoon I used to watch when I was little, the Wacky Racers, and it was Penelope Pit Stop.
Oh wow.
Uh, and she had like the pink, all pink, a bit of a Dasmo distress, but she was like, really girly, like blonde, pink. And the fact that Penelope, had that whole, it kind of gave me the Penelope pills. I'm like, oh, okay, like blonde, pink, extra. And so that kind of gave me those vibes. And so I think it helped Penelope to have somebody out there to kind of help. And I do, as you both said, a good manager, Paul Heyman, is like a testament to somebody who can, like, if you're not too sure about the wrestler, he will make you sure, or at least make you have an opinion. Even if you dislike the wrestler, you're like, oh, what is this? And, how I used to do about Brett Lesnar at the time. I used to complain on the text. I was like, oh, I don't care. But Paul, like, even if I didn't like him, like Paul was saying, like, well, maybe you're right. I don't want to have to admit it, but maybe you're right. And so a good manager can make you feel things if you're not too sure where you stand in a wrestler. And so I'm kind of looking forward to kind of see how that relationship between the two of them kind of blossoms more. throughout this season. But I wasn't surprised. I mean, I was mostly surprised, I guess, as again Vivian not being as ferocious as she was previously. Like she was kind of taking it a little bit more easy. And again, I don't know if that's the right words I want to use. It just I was just like, I wonder why it was a little change up this time with it. But I'm glad that we got to see her again this week. I'm hoping we can see more of her. And again, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing kind of like the dynamic. You have the disciplinarian with her, Samantha Smart, who kind of like clearly manager type situation happening. And so I wouldn't even mind seeing something like that where it's like manager and they're like the person, their prodigy, kind of in matches like that, like tag matches like that. Like I guess whenever we get past this tag tournament, if they're not part of the tournament, I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Just kind of see how the managers, even if it's like the manager don't do too much, managers sometimes they get a little bit in there and then they kind of let the person do all the work. And so even if something like that, I wouldn't mind kind of just seeing how that plays out, because clearly both of them kind of on the same side with regards to how they react to the opponent. And so I'm just kind of curious if we can get that in the future. But it was a good main event. Again, I was just mostly surprised that Vivian just wasn't as ferocious as she was the first time we saw her. Like I felt like she was just like not as she needed to be. But I did like it was a solid main event.
Yeah, and then it's funny that you said that Penelope Pink reminds you of the Wacky Racers. You know what she reminded me of? I guess because I've been going back and watching TNA stuff. That she reminds me of someone who could be a part of the Beautiful People with Angelina Love. And
Yep.
then like that's really what she reminded me of when I was looking at her. I was just like, she looks like she could be a part of the Beautiful People. Yeah.
I mean, her response to you kind of felt fit that how they were. Like
Wait, what'd you
I
say?
saw that when she responded to you on Twitter, and she was just like, "Well, yeah, I know," and I'm like, "Oh, that definitely would fit something they would have said. Most definitely fit with something they would have said to somebody else." So yeah, I can see it.
It was funny. Like something that I am loving though is the fact that a lot of the WoW superstars are very interactive on Twitter. Like, and they are on Instagram as well, but mostly on Twitter. And I have been enjoying, those interactions that I do have when I do live tweet it, even though it's not really like a live tweet, like a mass live tweet thing like you do for like Raw or SmackDown. It's still fun nonetheless because they do see it and then they appreciate it and they like it, or sometimes they retweet it, or sometimes they respond. And it's really fun and I really like that. So it's cool. And then they really love that we're doing the show too. So I love it. I love how interactive that they can be with the fans. So hopefully we'll see more of that as they continue to blossom and grow. So all in all, this was an amazing episode. Episode 3 of WOW Superheroes. So yeah, I love the episode as a whole, and I can't wait to see how many more stories they're gonna tell. I know we're gonna get some more tag team actions with the Tonga twins next week. So and hopefully maybe we'll get more from the Beast and Lana Del. Well, not Lana Del Rey. Lord, I'm sorry. Raina Del Rey. As we continue to move forward with that. But ladies, thank you guys for joining me for the WOW Superheroes After Show. So, Kat, just tell everybody where they can find and follow you and what you've got going on.
Yeah, I am on most social media platforms and Cat We Trust, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. The E is a 3. As I said earlier, I'm really counting down literally to New York Comic Con. I'm like really, really excited about that. Uh, Never would have thought, honestly. And so I feel like that's what it is. It's like, oh, I'm excited, but also like mind blowing because I never would have thought I would have done something like this for a thing I go to like all the time. And so I'm like really excited about that. So definitely come check that out on Friday, 6:15, and room 4061. I'm going to be there with Stephanie and some other fabulous ladies as well. November 4th, I will be in the Bronx doing some backstage correspondent work for We Are Wrestling. And so that should be fun. And some fun stuff. It is spooky season, my favorite season. And so there are some things I plan on doing on my YouTube channel to kind of celebrate, spooky season. Halloween's I'm a horror person all the time. And so this is just extra for me, extra because everybody else is okay with it. I'm a person who watches it all the time. But there are little things I plan on doing, and so be on the lookout for that. And JD, it will not be online, but I do plan on posting the whole panel after I'm having it be recorded, so it can be posted. So I will post the whole thing afterwards on my YouTube. So if anybody wants to check it out afterwards, they can.
That's great. And you, Emily, tell everybody where they can find and follow you.
Yeah, you can follow me on all socials at Emily Mae Heller, and yeah, check out all my new things. I have some new videos and content coming out soon, so follow me, and maybe I cook your favorite recipe. You never know.
Yeah, that's great. Well, as usual, know you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy, and follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast everywhere you get your podcasts and listen, and follow on Instagram and Twitter at Hardy WrestlePod and Hardy Wrestling Podcast. I will be in New York this Friday to do the panel with Katrina at New York Comic Con, and I'm really excited because I literally only started going to conventions in 2019, and now here we are. I never thought this would happen, but it's really great that it is happening. So I'm excited to get into all of the things and to also be in New York again, because that's becoming my favorite place to be. And people keep having me, and it's just like, yay! So that's great. So I'm really excited for it. Oh, JD, he saw my old picture. I'm not doing a cosplay for New York Comic Con. I'm just gonna be myself because that's all I can be right now, and maybe that's enough for now, and it's okay. But I will be taking pictures of everybody else, so that'll be fun. So yeah, also thank you guys for watching Women's Wrestling Talk. Please know that you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at WW Talk Pod. Subscribe to us on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook as well, so you can catch all of our regular shows that we have basically every day, every night. We've got something going on. And of course, check out our website at www.talkpod.com and check out all of our amazing articles that we've got popping off this month, because it is Hispanic Heritage Month. That's still popping off until October the 15th. So along with spooky season, you also have that. So please check out all of our articles written by our amazing writing team. And look and check out all of our interviews and stuff, because Katrina's interview with Maria Kanellis Bennett popped up on the feed today, so please check that out. And just check out everything we've got going on, because we don't always give you the best content. Why? Because we're them girls, okay? So I know that wasn't grammatically correct, but here we are. It's okay. We're them girls, and it's okay. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and of course, continue to support Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. And until next time, bye y'all.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.